This is quite an interesting patterns problem, but it can also be quite challenging because the answers to part B and C are actually dependent on whether the figure number is an odd or even number. Grogu built a pattern of figures using identical rods as shown. Right, the table below shows the number of rods used. Complete the table for figures 6 and 7. And then part B, how many more rods would Grogu use to build figure 31 from 29? And part C, how many rods are required to build figure 138? So one of the first things that we can do in a problem like this is, of course, to find the difference between the number of rods. Right, so between 1 and 2 is 8. Right, between 2 and 3 is also 8. 3 and 4 is 5. 4 and 5 is 8. 8, 8, 5, 8. Alright, so there's a break here actually. Right, so we have 8, 5, 8, and this is very likely to be 5. Right, so this is 46, and after that 8. Right, so 46 plus 8 is 54. So what we can do now is to confirm the numbers that we get using the actual figures. Right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right, so in figure 2, this cube is being added. So how many more rods are being added here? So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, all these are actually horizontal. 7 and 8. Right, so we get 8. Right, then what about figure 3? Figure 3, another cube added on top. Right, so let's count again. How many rods are being used here? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again 8. Right, then from 3 to 4 we have add another cube. Right, so how many more rods are being added here? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's take a look at the figure again. Right, what do we notice? From 1 to 2 we add one cube, but there is overlapping of only one face, which is this one. Right, and then between 2 and 3, all right, we add another cube, and then again there is an overlapping of only one face, which is here. Try to shade it. Right, but between 3 and 4, when this additional cube is added, there is actually an overlapping of two surfaces. One is this one, the other one is at the bottom here. Right, so that is why the overlapping is only one face. You get 8 rods, sorry. Right, for this one as well as for this one, because there is an overlapping of only one surface or one face. Right, but here there is an overlapping of two faces. That is why the number of rods is lesser, 5. Right, so we can do the same here because there is an overlapping of only one face here. Right, we can the number of rods used will be 8. Right, so that's the reason for the alternating 5 and 8 in our answer. Right, so now let's analyze right, the pattern that we can see so far. So from 2 to 3, right, there's a plus 8. Right, so of course 2 is even and 3 is odd. Right, and then from 3 to 4 we plus 5. Right, so of course this is odd to even. Right, now what about 2 to 4? 2 to 4, we have 8 and 5, it is plus 13. So this is even to even. And what about 3 to 5? From 3 to 5, it is 5 plus 8. It's also 13. Right, so this is odd to odd. Right, so this is actually the pattern. Right, so now we can use this observation to answer part B. Alright, so part B asks us how many more rods from figure 29 to 31. Right, so this is actually odd to odd. Right, so the answer is of course plus 13. Just for discussion purposes, what about from 29 to 30? Right, so 29 is odd to even, so odd to even it will be plus 5. Right, so what about 28 to 29? That will be even to odd, so it will be plus 8. And then what about 30 to 32? Of course it will be plus 13. Right, so now in order to answer part C, let's reproduce our table into a horizontal form. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's extend it to further 8, 9, and 10. Right, so what we can observe here is that from figure 2 onwards, there is a pattern. Right, every interval of two numbers, that means from 2 to 4, there is a 13. Right, 4 to 6, there is also a 13. Right, so I can draw it something like this. From 2 to 4, there is an interval of 13. 4 to 6, another 13, and so on. All right, every even number, in other words. Right. And then 2, of course, the number of rods is 20. Right? So for example, if I am interested to find the number of rods for figure 8, right? So you can see that it will be 13 multiplied by 3 plus 20. Why 3? Because there are 3 intervals. Right? You can see from the diagram. And then plus 20 because figure 2 is actually 20. Right, so this is actually what, 39 plus 20, or 59. Right. Now what about figure 10? All right, figure 10 we have 4 intervals of 13. All right, but if you have a larger number, of course it will be a problem to draw. So let's try to see the expression that can be used. All right, for number 8, we can get these 3 intervals by using this calculation. All right, let's take a look at this. From 2 to 8. Right? So what is this number 2 to 8? It is 8 minus 2 equal to 6. Right? And then we can get our 6, and then divide by 2, we get our 3 intervals. Right? So that's the calculation that we can use. Right? So for 10, all right, the interval between 10 and 2 is actually 10 minus 2, which is 8. And then we take our 8, we divide it by 2, because the interval of 13 is actually a jump of 2. We get our 4. Right, so there will be 4 intervals of 13 here. Right, so we can make use of this to answer our part C. Right, we have 138, right, the figure number. So what we do is find the interval between 2 and 138, which is 138 minus 2, or equal to 136. And then because the 13 interval is a jump of 2, we divide that by 2. Right, so of course this is 68. Right? Then what will be the number of rods? It will be 68 multiplied by 13, because each interval is 13, and then we have to plus 20 for figure 2. Right, so if you were to calculate these, I believe you're going to get 904. Now what happens if the figure number is an odd number? Alright, so for discussion purpose, so let's say we are interested in finding the number of rows for figure 105, which is an odd number. Right, so what we can do is we don't solve for 105, we solve for 105 plus 1, which is the next even number. Right, we do that so that we can make use of this expression that we have learned earlier. Right, so we solve for 106, right, and then after getting the result, we got to minus 5. Yes. So no, why do we have to minus 5 from our answer? All right, it is because from odd to even we plus 5, but now we are doing from even back to odd. Right? So instead of plus 5, it is minus 5 because we are doing the opposite in our solution. Right? So that's the reason why we have to minus 5 for our result. Right? So let's calculate the number of rods for 106. We have learned earlier what we need to do first is 106 minus 2, and then take the result, divide by 2. All right, I'm doing everything in one step here. So this is 104 divided by 2. Right, so we get 52, and then 52 multiplied by 13 plus 20 for figure 2. All right, I believe you're going to get 696. Right, and explained earlier, we need to minus 5 because we are going backwards from 106 back to 105. All right, so the final answer is 696 minus 5. This is equal to 691. Now, before I end the video, I want to pose a challenge to you. Right, teachers, I guess this would be a very good exercise to give your student. To find the answer for 105, I do calculate the answer for 106 and then do some adjustment. Right, that's not the only solution. Right, another solution is to do 104 instead of 106. Right, so the challenge for you is, can you work out the solution if I were to do this? What will be the final adjustment to be made to whatever answer that you get for 104? Okay guys, so I hope you find the video very interesting. All right, you learned something interesting here. For your practice, go to the link that is given below. All right, click on the new problem button. You can see that the numbers change, and in particular I just want to highlight, right, it will alternate between even and odd. All right, so now this is even. When you click again, it becomes odd and then becomes even. Right, so to check your answer, just click on this. Okay, so thank you guys for listening and have fun.